All right, here we are. It is April 9th, okay? This is the third day of the Patreon series that I'm offering you guys. As we've been going along, we've been doing anterior chain, front side of the body, posterior chain we did last time. That was Tuesday. Now we're on Thursday here. We're going to do anterior chain again, but this time we're going to do upper body. We haven't done much upper body, so we're going to get into that today. And we're going to start with mobility here in Tier 1. So here we go. And remember guys, if you want to turn on some music in the background or make this a little bit playful for yourself, turn up the jams a little bit, and you obviously just have to be able to hear me as well. But, you know, make this environment nice for you, okay? I don't have any music playing, but I certainly would if I was doing this on my own and not filming something for you. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab our ball, okay, either small or large, and we're going to start to open up the pecs, okay? The pecs are really important to roll really often because when we're seated or leaning forward over something, and we all typically are over a computer, writing, driving, something or another, we're reaching our arms forward or bending forward, our pecs get extremely tight and stuck in this position, and then our shoulders start to round forward over years and years of bending and curling forward. So to release our posture and allow us to come back and open up our posture, we have to release the tissue here, right? Same thing that we did for the hips last week. We need to do the same thing for the front side of our body and our shoulders now. So we're going to go about doing a few different mobility exercises. We're going to spend a lot of time on these, so get comfortable and see how it feels for you. Here we go. So we got a small and a large ball. I'll show you how to do this for each. Now, we're going to work on each shoulder, and each position we're going to do 2 minutes. So here, the large ball works quite nice for getting into the pec, okay? Now, basically, you want to go below the shoulder. You can see some shoulder muscle here protruding forward. You want to go a little bit lower than that, okay? Now, I have a fair amount of weight on there as well, and you'll have to find, you know, maybe I need to shift my shoulders or my body weight a little bit to find where could be most appropriate for me to find a little bit of tender sensation. And just like last time, you guys, we're looking for something that feels less than comfortable, okay? May not be extremely painful, but usually if something's tight, it's not super awesome feeling, okay? So here we are. Now what I can do from here is start to wave my arm sliding up into a vertical position. And what that's going to do is going to lengthen and expose my pec on that right side a little bit more. And reach. And of course, you can relax your head if you want. In fact, I recommend that. I'm just talking to you guys, so you know I'm going to have my head and face up. And I can swing back. And if I want to, I can go all the way back to my low back. And that really exposes what's called Pec Minor, one of the smaller muscles in the pec complex. Okay, and I can also swing back forward. So it's up to you. You know, you can continue to move just sliding the arm up. But if you find a really tender spot, which I just did here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang out, spend a little time, and rather than moving the arm, I can actually begin to move my body. So as I shift my body weight side to side, now I'm massaging deeper and deeper into the tissue, maintaining that position. And that's getting in real good for myself. Now we've been going about a minute and a half or so. We want to do about 2 minutes of position here. So for the next 30 seconds, and hopefully you're joining me for this, I'm going to do contract and relax. So what that looks like is wherever you have the ball, wherever you have your arm, you're going to end up pushing your palm through the ground, okay? When I push down through my arm and hand, I feel my pec engage, okay? That's the contraction that we've been talking about. Now I'm going to relax. And as I relax, it sinks deeper into the tissue. Now I'm going to move my arm up here, and I'll do a contract, relax up here. Take a big breath. Contract. Exhale, relax. And I'll do one down here as well. Still in the pec. Take a big breath. Contract. Relax. Okay. Now that's about 2 minutes on that particular muscle group, and that's as much as you'll need there. It's a tender muscle, right? So you don't want to do it too much longer than 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. Now before we do the pec on the left side, switching sides, I'm actually going to continue along into multiple other locations on the right shoulder. Okay, so I'm going to do all of my right shoulder, then I'm going to do all of my left. Now this next location is called subscapularis. It's one of the rotator cuff muscles, and it's located more in the back of the armpit, which can be really uncomfortable for you guys. So if it is really uncomfortable or you feel any nerve twinginess, come off of it for a second, relax, notice how you feel, and then try it again if you feel so compelled. But you don't want to be in excruciating pain here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on my side, and the ball is going to go directly into my armpit. Now, if the ball is in the armpit, you basically can't go wrong with finding subscap. So search, again, where is a little bit more tender. I've been doing this one for quite a long time, so it's not too gnarly for me. But now once I'm here, keeping the arm overhead, I'm going to do internal and external rotation with my arm and hand. So you'll see I rotate my thumb back, then I'll rotate my thumb and arm in. And what this is some sort of contract and relax motion for that subscap. And we will end up doing a little bit more as well, but I'm just going to rotate back and forth for the next minute or so, breathing, taking the breath all the way up into my chest and shoulder, expanding into my armpit. Relax, let the tissue relax, let the ball sink deeper into the armpit. Remember, if you have to take a break, hop off for a second. Not too much moving of the body for this one. Okay, now I'm going to begin to do a contract relax in a different way. I'm going to push my palm down through the floor much like you did with the pec before. So take a big breath. Push the hand down. That's contracting the arm all the way through my shoulder. Hold the breath. Exhale, relax. Take a big breath. We'll do 2 more. Push down. And relax. And I do feel it sinking deeper and deeper into the pit. It's getting in there. Take a big breath. 1 more. Contract. Push down. And relax. Okay, so subscap is done on that side. The next one is going to be the lat on the right shoulder. So we're just continuing. We've gone from pec to subscap in the pit. Now you're going to go to lat on the back side of the armpit. So if you lift your arm and grab the muscle on the back side of your armpit there, this is the lat. And it goes all the way up into your shoulder where you find it meets. Essentially what you have is teres minor, teres major, tricep, some other things going on right in this location. You want to be just below where you can find and grab all of this muscle here. So you're going to lay on your side much like you did with the subscap, but now you'll see I'm more on the back side of my armpit on that muscle that I was just showing you guys. Okay, that's the lat. Now the lat is actually not a part of the anterior chain. I said we were doing anterior chain today, but this is not a part of anterior chain. This is part of posterior chain. But because we're working on the shoulders, it's really nice to just do all 3 of these in the same go. It's really going to open up your shoulders. You can see that my arm is still overhead for this one as well. And what you'll notice is all these different muscle groups have a different sensation. So the pec feels much different than the subscap. Subscap feels really junky and weird. Lat can be really painful. It's not one that we typically roll. So it can be just as painful as the pec or even more so. Now in this position, after relaxing for a few moments, I'm going to do a little bit more. I'm going to pull my arm up into this 90-degree angle, and I'm going to let my palm go down towards the ground. This is internal rotation of the shoulder. Now I'm going to do external rotation. It's not going to go very far back, but I'm pushing my hand back this direction behind me. Now I'm going to go down, and I'm just going back and forth like this for the next 30 seconds or so. Taking my big breaths. By the way, if you guys couldn't hear it already, it's raining outside, and that is the sound of my roof making rain noise. So, you know, I'm sorry if that bugs you. As I said earlier, turn the music on a little bit, and I guarantee you things are going to be just okay. Now, we're going to contract and relax on this shoulder now. What that looks like is you're going to keep your hand up like this, and you're going to drive your elbow straight into the ground. And what that does is contract the lat here. Hold that for a few seconds. Exhale, relax. Man, and when you do that one, it really gets in. It hurts much worse after doing that contract, relax. Something else as well. My neck is getting a little tired here too, so I imagine yours might as well. If you need to grab the top of your head to lift a little bit and give yourself some relief, you can. Or a yoga block right behind your head and shoulder could be nice too, and I'll show you that when we get to the other side. I'm going to contract and relax 2 more times. Contract. Exhale, relax. Big breath in. Contract. And relax. Okay, so we've gotten one shoulder here. Now, something I like to do after doing all of one shoulder is testing how that shoulder did. There's a couple different tests that you could do. Or I should say how the shoulder it feels after as far as mobility goes. The whole reason we're doing these exercises is to gain mobility. And what mobility is range of motion. So a couple tests. One, you may notice I'm going to bring my arms up over my head and bring them vertical as much as I can. What you tend to notice after rolling one side is that the arm will go further back than the other. Now, I promise you I'm not going to, fake this. I'm just going to go back as far as I can with one and the other. And I'm not looking up. Maybe you notice a difference. Maybe the camera person notices a difference. I don't notice anything because I'm not looking. But now I'm going to look, and I do see I have maybe ½ inch to an inch more of range of motion that I've gained, which is great. Awesome. That's what we want. So now we're going to go and do everything on the other side. So we're going to start with pec on the left side. Okay, front of the shoulder. Now my left pec and left shoulder actually have a lot more problems than my right. So this side can be a little bit more painful for myself. Remember, you can rest your head on your hand. I'm not going to stay out of the way so you can see. Front of the chest, not quite in the shoulder. What I tend to see is some people will go too high and outside. You're not in the front of the shoulder, you're just a little bit below into the chest. Now I'm going to search around here for a few seconds. Ooh, this pec is spicy for me. I'm going to have to ask my girlfriend to give me a massage later. Or I could just do it myself like I am right now. Okay, so I'm breathing, I'm relaxing. I've just found a really tender spot here, so now I'm going to move my body a bit. This might be different for you, right? If you find a spot when you're waving your arm like this, like, oh, there's a little ropey sensation, that feels painful, pause yourself and just hang out right there. It's not necessarily where I am, but this is a good spot for me. Now I'm just going to move and you'll see the muscle kind of jump beneath me. Oh, there's a jump. And if you can notice that, what that is when I roll over a particular part of the muscle, it's so thick and ropey right there, and ropey I mean tight, that it'll actually jump and move beneath the ball. It'll roll over the ball in a jumpy kind of way. Areas like that mean that you need to spend more time there because they're tight. So please do. Now I'm going to stay in this spot right here, and I'm going to start to do a little contract, relax, take a big breath. You're going to push your hand down through the floor, straight through the floor, big breath, push down, exhale, relax. I'm going to do 2 more, and I actually start to feel myself getting a little tingly here in my fingers because I'm in the pectoral nerve running through the pec right now. So if that's happening for you, you don't want to go too deep into that tingling sensation. You can pause a little bit sooner. 2 more contract, relax for myself. Exhale, relax. Big breath. 1 more. Contract. And relax. Okay, now, pecs done on that side. We're going to go into subscap. As I showed you earlier. On your side, going directly into the armpit. Okay, as I said, my left shoulder is a little bit more spicy than my right, so this is just a joy. So joyful and fun for myself. And remember, as I've talked about in the other videos, reframing what pain means to you is a really big part of how this can end up being enjoyable for you. Although this is painful, and typically pain for you is not a good thing, if you can rationalize this pain as something that's doing good for you, then it can be enjoyable because you know it's doing something good for you. Now, we're early on in the process, and you may not notice the benefits quite yet, but I guarantee you will, in which case you'll be able to rationalize the pain a little bit more. So you can see I started to do a little bit of internal and external rotation with my hand and arm. I'm breathing deep into my armpit. The shoulder is such a complicated joint, a circumductive joint, much like the hip. What that means is that it can rotate in almost every direction. And what that means is there's a lot of muscle, a lot of nerve that all conjoins into that joint. And if it's tight, and if things aren't working well, things like frozen shoulder can pop up, things like migraines can pop up. There's a lot of different things that can come with shoulder issues. And of course, you want to be able to use your arms. You want to be able to put things on and off a shelf in your kitchen, or reach and grab your purse behind you in your car. We need to keep the shoulders healthy to be able to do a lot of different things with your hands. And this is one way we're going to do it. Now I'm going to contract, relax to this side, pushing my palm down through the floor. Big breath. Push down, contract. Exhale. For me, this one feels just like it's pulling the skin in my armpit. And I'll explain that in a second. I'm going to do a contract, relax again. Go ahead and join me. Push down hard. Exhale. I'm going to do one more. Contract. Push, push, push. 5 to 10 seconds. Relax. Now, what I was talking about the skin is the skin on top of the fascia, on top of the muscle. It tells you about the tightness of the muscle beneath. If you have tight skin, on any particular location, generally it means that that area is tight as well. But if your skin is very pliable and you can pull your skin off any location, that usually means that the muscle beneath it is pretty healthy as well. So you'll find my calves are pretty tight, so I have a decent amount of skin mobility here. But that's just an idea behind the relationship of how the skin relates to the muscle and the fascia beneath it. So although it feels like it's pulling your skin sometimes, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Now I'm going to do the lat with the smaller ball just to show you how it can be done. The smaller ball means that it will be more painful, okay, because it is a more pinpoint tool. So imagine, a thumb going into any of the areas that we've done so far. It's more pinpoint. It's going to hurt worse. Bigger ball, broader, not going to hurt as bad. Smaller ball, going to hurt a little bit worse. So I'm on the back side of the armpit. Hopefully you can see that. And remember, it's the muscle on the back side of the armpit, so you can see I can grab it here. So it's a good way to test for yourself. Try to pinch and find that muscle back there. And you're pretty high up towards the back of the shoulder and arm. And you can work it down. You can go lower. You can see I move the ball a little bit lower. Maybe you can't see. There you go. Now the lat is a little bit where I am right now is a little bit lower on the lat. Now I'm going to do exactly what I did before. Is I'm going to do internal and external rotation with the arm. Nice and slowly. Maybe you're noticing something for yourself here. Left shoulder relative to the right, a little bit more painful, a little less painful. Something to consider as well, are you right-handed, are you left-handed? What side is tighter? Is it your dominant arm or your non-dominant arm? About 20 more seconds. I'm going to do contract, relax, 2 to 3 times on this side. Okay, here we go. I'm going to take a big breath. Contract, push the elbow down into the ground. Maybe you can see the muscle lifting on top of the ball there. And exhale, relax. Ooh, sinks in deep. Teaching the brain to relax here. Number 2, contract. Exhale, relax. Ooh. All right, I'm going to do one more. Contract. And relax. All right. So we've just done the soft tissue release of all that. Now we're going to do 2 stretches to open up the tissue. Okay, these are going to be active stretches, not passive. And I'll show you what that means. The first one is a yoga pose called scorpion pose. So what you're going to do is you're going to end up laying on your stomach. And you're going to place your arm, this is the arm that we're going to be stretching, the shoulder and the elbow are going to be at 90 degrees. Okay, right angle and right angle here. Now, I'm going to turn my head the other direction. I'm going to place this hand, my opposite hand, in a push-up position, right here. And then I'm going to bring my left leg to the right side of my body. And I'm rotating my hips, my thoracic spine. And what I'm doing is I'm bringing my weight, I'm bringing the weight of my body towards this hand and arm. And I'm going to breathe and relax here for about 2 minutes. Taking big, big breaths. Now, to make sure this stays active, I'm actually going to gently push this hand through the ground as I'm in this stretch. So rather than just relaxing completely, I want to add a little bit of pressure through this arm. Now you may feel hip stretching here. You might feel this top hip. You may feel the mid back or low back here. That's all good. It's all good for your body as well. But also listen to those sensations. If they're too painful, maybe come down a little bit. I'm still pushing through the floor. Big, big breaths all the way into my chest. All right, now I'm going to switch sides. We're almost done with mobility, guys, so stick with me. Same thing on the other side. My back arm is at 90 degrees in the elbow and the shoulder. This hand's here in push-up position. My right leg pulls my body to my left side. Taking big breaths here as I push this hand through the ground. Driving that hand through the ground. Don't push too hard. It's just a gentle activation. Actively mobilizing that left shoulder here. We don't want to be passive. Now, if you're doing this mobility sequence before bed and you're not moving along to tier 2, then you can be passive here. You can just completely relax. But if you're going to do exercise after this, you want to stay active. You do not want to stretch passively, especially for what we're going to do today. We got some fun stuff in tier 2. I'm going to do about 30 more seconds here. Okay, now we have one more stretch. Here we are, last one. This is a puppy dog pose. This is also a yoga position that's done frequently in classes. And you can use different tools or no tools to do this. So typically it's done on the ground as so. So what I would suggest is get on your knees. And then you're going to put your hands out in front of you. And you're going to make sure that your hips stay above your knees as you slide your hands out in front of you. Your palms stay pushing through the ground. So you can see that my hips are not back like this. This would be child's pose. Okay? This is not as hard on the shoulders. This is more opening of the low back. What we want is to stay forward, hips over the knees, pushing the arms out in front. And your head is actually going to continue either looking forward at your fingertips or relaxing your forehead on the ground. If you relax the forehead on the ground, it's a little bit more relaxing on the neck and not as hard on the shoulders. If you lift your head, it'll be harder on the neck and the shoulders. You can see that my elbows are completely straight. That's really important for this stretch. You do not want to let your elbows bend like this. Otherwise, it completely changes the stretch. Even if you're not as low as I am, try to keep your elbows straight and your arms pushing through the floor to stay active. So I'm pushing my palms through the ground here. Now we're stretching subscap, lat, and pec as we do this one. So that's why it's so effective, because it's getting all those shoulder muscles that we were just rolling before. Now this one can tend to make you really tingly, so listen to your body. We're going to do about another minute or so. If you have to slide out, shake your arms out, go ahead and do so. Big breaths, still pushing my palms through the floor. 2 more breaths. All right. My shoulders are feeling real nice. I hope yours are looser. We're about to get ready to start doing some work in the next tier. If you're not joining us in the next tier, thank you for joining us for Tier 1. And I hope your body's feeling pretty good. I'll see you guys next week or for the next session, one way or another. Wish you well.